Hello everyone. So in the last video we spoke about web servers. We created our web server and we made our web server run on port 2000. We also learned to use Express. In this video we'll be continuing with that. What we want to do today is we want to be able to save our HTML files to our clients from our web server. So let's just go ahead to create a simple HTML page. I'll go ahead and create a new file. So you create HTML page. You have to create HTML page. You have to use the. Let's first go ahead and save this. I just want to save this to my desktop, and I'm going to save it as index, or let's just say, let's say index.html. I mistake that. I misspelled that, so I might have to delete that. So let's go back to my desktop, and then the new file, I want to rename that to index.html. So let me open that file. So open file, back to my desktop, then I pick index.html and open it. So now to create HTML files, you have to use the following. You start with doc type, that specifies the type of the document you are creating, and our document type is HTML. So this tag is the first thing you need when you are creating an HTML page. The next thing you want to do is you want to open your HTML tag itself. So in HTML, you open your tag like this. Anything you are doing it inside tags. You open your tag like this, and then you close your tag like this most of the times. So this HTML shows that this is an HTML file. Whatever we are written here should be attended to, like should be translated by the web browser. So it splits into three parts. You are going to have your head. Inside your head you can have a couple stuffs, like for example you can have the title of your page. Let's say my app. Then also you have to add the character type, so the meta tag. So let's use the meta tag. So let's say meta character set is equal to, just say UTF it. Then you have to close that tag as well. So now the next thing we want to do, so this is the head. This head is not necessarily shown, is actually shown in your browser but not in the page. So what we are going to have now is we are going to have a body tag. So you are going to have a body tag. This is where you are going to write anything that you want to display in your browser. So for example, I want to just display hello express, for example. So we can just have h1 is used to create headers, so it represents a section heading. So you can just go ahead and say my express app. So let's just say my express app. Now this is a simple HTML page. If your browser receives an HTML page, it translates all this from code into actual visible stuff, and you'll be able to see that. So let's just go back to my desktop and try to open this with a browser. So I'm opening it with Google Chrome in this and what you can see is we have my Express app. If you go back here and maybe, for example, you can just add a paragraph, and let's say thanks to a tech choice. And then if you go ahead back to your browser, you just have to refresh your page and you can see thanks to our tech choice. So your browser formats all this code into your browser is able to read HTML files, understand it, and display what is needed on the browser. So now this is how HTML pages work. What we want to do is we want to be able to save HTML pages from our server to our client. So for example, we have a couple HTML pages. Now HTML pages can have a lot of features. For example, even this page is an HTML page, and if you view the page source, you should be able to see the code that is translated to this. So this is the code for the Google search page. So we want to, since this is the way that this is the way that people actually save their website to the client, it is very important you definitely use HTML pages. You cannot always present from your server to the user without using HTML. You would want to use HTML most of the times. So what we want to do is be able to save these HTML files from our Node.js web server. And to do that, what we have to do is this. Now if you see in server.js, we were able to send response from here, and if we run node server.js, we can see our port is running on our app is running on port 2000. So if you go ahead to localhost then localhost port 2000, we can see that we visited the root directory. We also displayed something, but this is now HTML. I'm coming. Let me just try to view the page source and see what we have. You see, we are unable to. I can't find a way to view the page source. Okay, I'm able to view it. See, it's just a line wrap. It does not have the whole HTML stuff. So how do we go ahead to actually serve HTML pages from our application? Now that's what we are going to do next. Let's go ahead and create a new folder in our web server. Let's create a new folder, and we are going to name that folder public. So inside our public folder, what we are going to do is we are going to put all of our HTML files, maybe CSS files. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. It is used to like make HTML pages look good. It is used to give styles to HTML pages, and also JavaScript files, our assets, maybe images, multimedias. We can put all of those inside the public folder. So inside here, let's just go ahead and create a new file and name it index.html. I'll tell you the importance of this index.html soon when we get there. So let's go ahead and copy all of this from our desktop and put it back inside here, my Express app. And so now we can go ahead and cancel this one since we have it in our working directory. Now if we go ahead and rerun this, our app is running on port 2000, our server is running on port 2000, but how do we get to access this index.html? You can't just come and say /public. Let's see, /public. You see, it tells us cannot get public because we are not serving that part of the application. So to do that, what do we need to do? We would want to do something called app.use. So let's just go ahead and say app.use. It's a function, and what we are going to pass into it is we are going to use express.static because it's a static page. We want to serve our static pages from our Node.js application. So what we are going to do is we are going to put the link to our public folder, and to get that, there's something in Node.js that we can use. We can use __ directory name. we use that to get the directory name, and then we can, since our directory name, we have gotten our directory name, what we can do now is we can just say directory, the current directory slash public, then let's say, let's just serve that, let's put it, it's a string, so let's go ahead and make that a string. It receives a string. So let's go ahead and save this and go ahead and rerun this. Now if we go back ahead to let's say slash public slash index.html, this might not work, but let's see. Cannot get public, so let's go ahead and take off this public. It still does not work. So okay, did we rerun? I think we did. So we are using this. So what we are going to do is, that error was that we made directory name a string, which is actually wrong. We can even just have public over here. We could just have public here, and if we go ahead to rerun this, and we go back to, let's just go back to localhost, then port 2000, we are able to access our HTML file. And the reason why we have it display over here, normally we should access it by doing /index.html, since we are serving everything inside. You see, we are getting my Express app also, we are getting the index.html file, and also if we take this off, we also get the same thing. The reason being that the index file in a server is what the server tries to run whenever the directory is accessed. You understand? So if you want your own page, you want to name your own page, you have to name it as the index file, so the server can pick it up and present it to whosoever comes to your server at first. So now, banking on that, what we are going to learn is we are going to learn something called middlewares. Middlewares are they are one of the most interesting thing about Express.js. Middleware makes it easy for you to run specific functions for all or some of your routes. An example would be like a logger. You want to be able to know what is going on your server. You want it to be consoling what people are doing on your server. So to create a middleware, we can just go ahead. Let's try to format this a little bit. So to create a middleware, you have to declare a variable. Let's declare a variable named middleware, and middleware will take it. You initialize it with an object. Then inside the object, you can name all your middleware. Let's just make one middleware called let's say require authentication, for example. So you want maybe your route to actually require authentication. You can just name that, then you initialize it into a function. The function is a callback, so it receives requests, response, and also next. So this is our callback function. Inside here, what we just want to do is, let's just console.log log this route is private. So let's just try to console.log this route is private for this one. Then next thing we are going to do, let's just call the next as a function. So let's just call next, and that would be all for our middleware. So we've created a middleware. What we just want to do now is to use our middleware. So we can just say app.use as well. Then we call our middleware. So middleware dot require authentication, which is the name of our middleware. So what we have just said is that our app, for every route that our app has, it should try to run this middleware. So this function should first be called. So now if we go ahead and rerun this, we can go back here. Then let's try to access our server. Let's go back here and see. You can see we got something like this route is private. If we go ahead to run it again, you can see this route is private. So for every or let's just say private route it. So let's just say private route accessed. So let's go ahead, and if we go ahead and run this again, you can see that for every page we try to access, then I access the root. Let's try to go to about. If I try to go to about, you can also see that we got private route access because I'm using a middleware that would work on all of my. So you can do some computations in your middleware, like maybe you can get the date, the current date, the page the person accessed, and you put that in somewhere. In that note, let's just create a logger. Let's just create something that will log something. So let's just say a logger. We are creating a logger. What the log will do, will just print out the URL that the clients tried to access. So we can just say logger, and we initialize that into a callback function that receives request response, and response, and then next. So what we are going to do here, we are doing something wrong actually. Okay, so there has to be a comma here. So our logger, what we want our logger to do is let's just print out console.log. Let's do new request, and we can just append the method of the request method. So let's just say request.method. Method is already part of the request. Every request has a method, so we can just say request.method. Then let's just append a space to that, and now say let's just get also the request original URL. So request.original URL. All these are built into the request function, so we can now decide to just use let's just say middleware.logger. So our application now will use this logger middleware. If we go ahead and rerun our application and we try to hit this, let's go to the root folder. I think we might have an error. Why we had the error was because we did not print out, we did not call the next function as we did over here. So if we go ahead and call the next function and we save that, what we can see is immediately we rerun this, we can now go ahead to get a new request get, which is try to access the root folder. We also try to access the about folder. We were able to get the about folder, and also it tells us, it logs that a consoles.log that we try to access, a client tried to use a get method to access the about page.